Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Cornerstone Retirement Partners presents Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser and Nolan Gosley. Cornerstone Retirement Partners are planning today for the potential of tomorrow.
And welcome into the program. This is Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids' resource for a common sense approach to planning with our money, our investments, and for our financial future. He is certified financial planning professional Ron Corser, CFP, founder of Cornerstone Retirement Partners. Ron, always a pleasure. We appreciate your time and the guidance that you provide in this complex financial world for us.
Well, good morning, Peter, and good morning to everybody listening to today's program. If you're going on your way to church, I hope you have a blessed experience there. If you're just listening on your own, if you want to take some notes, you can. We're in the middle of summer and we're right in the middle of an interesting year in the markets. So we're going to touch on a lot of these things and you get ready to take notes. It's not going to be a painful experience on today's radio program, but we are going to touch on some subjects that perhaps are going to be near and dear to people's hearts even more going forward. So stay tuned. Again, our number to call when you have questions or need information is 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there and we'll reach out to you and provide you the information or answers you need. But we will contact you. So let's go forward with today's program, Peter. I think it'll be an interesting one.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, the program itself, hopefully not painful. In fact, hopefully you enjoy it and find some nuggets that you can use for bettering your financial progress and make sure that each and every dollar is working its hardest to helping you achieve your goals. However, Ron, the current environment that we are in, not completely painless by any stretch. I think that a lot of Americans, a lot of proactive savers and investors are a bit nervous about their investments and their accounts in the market and the day-to-day kind of finances that we have to face with the prices soaring. So we have talked on this program for an extended period of time, for years, and you have with your clients talked for decades about how to make sure that we are prepared for times such as this. And hopefully, you know, if you have not paid attention as of yet, you are hearing this and maybe beginning to pay some more attention to your money, to your investments, and to the guidance of a qualified, experienced professional like Ron Corser. But Ron, I think that is part of the financial discussion is, who are we getting our guidance from? And I know you and your entire team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners really have a unique approach, a bit of a bias in the financial world that may be different or uncommon from other advisors, certainly different than some other advisors.
Well, that's probably true, Peter, and it's an interesting approach to take. We've been on this show in 26, 27 years here going on, talking about financial success and what that means to individuals. And it always is an individual issue. What's defined as success for your next door neighbor may not be yours and vice versa. But we've been talking a lot over the years about some basic ideas in financial planning, how to keep money safe, how to have some growth because you need that. Importantly, how do you protect principal and how do you create income out of your life savings? I think probably that's one of the key things that we focus on, perhaps even more than some others, although I'll just say that's our primary focus. If we had to list what we do and how we try to help people, number one would be creating a written income plan for everybody. And then moving on to how do we deal with market risk, because that's high on everybody's mind today. You know, we've had a lot of conversations this year with clients and folks who are contemplating joining our firm. And everybody seems to want to know, well, what's going on? What are your thoughts? And I tell people that I don't even pretend to know everything, but I also don't pretend to know that the people running this economy know anything either. So we're kind of on even footing. But here's what I tell folks. There's two parts to what's going on here in our world. One is economic and one is political. And I encourage people to put the political to side a little bit. And here's why. The politics that we're involved in this country right now don't directly impact the economy with these exceptions. Number one, with regulation. And number two, with changes in tax rules. So the other part that we're really faced with is economics. And right now we're looking at key economic questions and needing answers. What's going to happen with this inflation spiral that seems to be going up and up? What are we going to do about that? Rising interest rates, mortgage rates going up, cost of food going up, supply chain disruptions. Those are things that actually impact the market a whole lot more directly than the politics. Although the politics does come into play when there's a new regulation that may come out of Washington, D.C. that impacts something. A great example is energy. Whether one is, pro-energy or anti-energy or whatever that might be. The issue is that not too long ago, our country was energy independent and we were a net exporter of energy. Because of regulations now that have come out of Washington, D.C., we are no longer in that position. We're no longer a net exporter of energy, and we're not energy independent. In fact, we're asking other countries to supply us with energy. And think about this. A barrel of oil is important, but we don't truly understand, I think, how important it is. Oil is, I would bet that in 90 to 95% of everything around us that we wear, that we ingest, that somehow there's an energy proponent to that, an oil-based proponent to that. So when the price of energy goes up, a whole lot of things go up with it. So that's where regulations and also maybe changes in tax laws can come into play. So let's push that aside for a moment and not lose our minds with the politics going on today and talk about the things that are impacting us directly, which is inflation, interest rates, supply chain issues, and who knows what else. Crabgrass growing in your front lawn, which can always be a problem because we have to spend a lot of money to kill those crabgrass things. So I tell folks this, inflation is over 8%. It's gone up dramatically. Inflation is one of those creatures that grows slowly and then explodes, and it doesn't go away overnight. So whether inflation goes to 7% or up to 9%, the fact is that everything around us is going to cost more, which means it's going to impact our income plan. That's much greater. And the question is, what do we do about that? How do we handle it? The second part to this is, what about the market risk? Why does the market behave the way it's behaving when interest rates start to go up or inflation goes up? Think about this. Here's how I try to give an explanation as to the impact of inflation on the stock market. Not too long ago, Target was just slaughtered on the market. What happened? Well, they missed their earnings estimate. Why did that happen? Well, if we go back to last year, think about this. In manufacturers and retailers and stores were able to raise prices rather easily, and they were able to do it faster than the cost of goods or the cost of manufacturing or the cost that they were incurring to provide the service or goods to us. So in this part of the year now, they can't raise prices quite as frequently or as high, and yet all of a sudden the cost of inputs, if you will, has gone up more dramatically, which has decreased earnings versus costs, which decrease earnings per share. And when earnings per share goes down, generally the stock that company is hit or hammered, whatever the case may be. So that's one of the reasons that we're experiencing some of this strange behavior in the markets. The other part I tell people is really simple. If we go back to when COVID shut everything down and the market went down 22.2% in the first quarter, but in March when they shut everything down in 2020, it went down 31% in 11 days. From that bottom, think about how the world around us has changed. we had this enormous run up in the markets. A lot of that was caused by what the Federal Reserve did. They printed money and threw trillions of dollars out there. That's one of the primary reasons we have the inflation we have today. Yes, what's going on in Ukraine has had a little bit of an impact, but we had inflation roaring up before we ever did the Ukraine thing. And that was a primary reason for all the money that was printed, all the trillions of dollars, and also what was going on in the energy world around us. So we had this situation, markets just almost went parabolic and shot up through. Peloton was an interesting creature. They're the ones that created all those bikes and everything that you could ride at home.
The most expensive clothes rack you'll ever own.
Yeah, and you couldn't go exercise. Everybody was buying Peloton bikes who had the money to do it. So Peloton, the stock price went through the roof. And now they're in deep trouble because people are going back into the gym to work out and they don't need the Peloton bikes as much. Netflix is another example. But I think what's happened is that the COVID shutdown forced us to do more and more on the internet. We're doing more Zoom meetings as a company. I'm doing Zoom meetings with people in their late 70s and 80s that frankly, 3 years ago, if I'd have suggested that, they'd have hit me with their cane or her purse. And now it becomes more normal. And people are buying more and more online, Amazon deliveries. We're buying food online. We're doing more and more. So I think what COVID did, on top of all the money printing, is that it just moved what would have taken maybe 5 years. It brought it into the next year. So we had this great run up in the market. And now just normally when markets run up dramatically like that, they automatically do some kind of correction. Things don't go up all the way automatically forever. And that on top of inflation has just made this downturn in the first part of this year seem a whole lot more painful and worse. So those are the things that are going on. Now, the question becomes is, what are we going to do about it? So ladies and gentlemen, before I get into what we might do about it, if what I've touched on already has kind of got your attention, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name and number in there. We'll reach out to you and get the information you need. So one of the things that we're doing here now, we've been doing it reviews all year with clients and with people we meet new, is to say, okay, here's the things we can control. What is it we can control? We can control where we put our money. We can't control the results, but we can pretty much control where we put our money. Secondly, we can pretty much control the idea of if we're going to go into retirement this year, and I've run into some people, not clients yet, who have in their own mind postponed retirement this year because of what's happened in the market. We can take a look at saying, well, how much risk do you really have in the market? Think about this. If anybody out there is listening to today's program and you've postponed your retirement date, you were going to retire in 2022, and now because of market losses, you're not sure you're going to be able to do it. That could be a really red flag. And I would encourage you, if you're out there listening and that's going on in your life, give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Here's why I'm going to encourage you to call us, because we can do a couple things that I think will help you understand what's going on in the markets and its impact on your accounts. Number one, we can identify and put a number on it and really give you an objective, a look at how much risk and what kind of risk do you have in your investment strategies with your life savings. Number two, and this is critical, we can actually do some software work and background work on where you're going, where your plan is right now, and will it survive the next 10, 15, or 20 years, particularly if you're planning to take out money or you already have started to take out money in your life savings. We can provide that information to you. And let's face it, wouldn't it be good to know what kind of risk and how much risk you really have in your investment strategy? And wouldn't it be really nice to know, not on a hope or a prayer, but to know statistically, if whatever income plan, whatever withdrawal plan, however you're spending your money in retirement, if that's going to last, or are you going to have to make an adjustment 5 years from now, particularly given what's going on in the market now. So if this is important to you, if you'd like to know this information, give us a call. We'll have a conversation. Call us at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name and number in there and we'll reach out to you. We will help you with these two things that are vitally important. How much risk do I really have? Does it really line up with me as an investor? And secondly, will your plan as it's laid out right now, will it stand the test of time? Because you don't want to get down the road and say, oh my goodness, I should have made a change 5 years ago. So give us a call, 616-301-2581.
Ron, there is a transition that occurs from the paycheck and investments to creating income. And the risk that we take along the way really also should transition during that period. Whereas we may be willing to take some elevated risk in the hopes of higher returns when we've got the dependency of showing up to work, earning wages, and having a paycheck that covers our need for income and our expenses. When we've got a finite amount of money and that money is responsible for generating an income for us, the level of risk that we may be comfortable in taking might alter pretty substantially. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people's portfolio does not reflect that change in acceptance or willingness to take risk.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, there's a expression, I've used it before in the market, that when it comes to evaluating risk, everybody's a great risk taker when markets are going up. When markets are going down, maybe not so much, but there's an expression that says, nobody knows who's swimming naked till the tide goes out. Mm-hmm. And I think about that a lot because we've had a pretty amazing amount of volatility in this market this year. And it has dropped, bounced around in the bear market, up around a little bit, down a little bit. But it's been a significant correction, no matter how you measure it. And it's a good time to ask yourself this question, for those of you who have money in the market. Am I comfortable with what's happened to my portfolio, my investments, my money over the last 6 months? If you've lost a little bit of money, ask yourself, am I okay with this? Or am I uncomfortable with it? If you're okay with this, then the next question to say is, remember the 11th commandment, thou shalt not let thyself be buffaloed. I like that commandment too, because you really have to make an honest evaluation of, am I really, really okay with what's happened to my portfolio for the first 6 months of this year? And if you are, then fine, stay the course. Or if you're not comfortable at all, or if you really wish you would have if you'd have done something different, back in December, before all this happened and we had the ability to look forward in the future, maybe it's time to take a look at where you are, how you're invested, and what kind of plan or strategy your advisors put you into. So if you'd like to have this kind of an evaluation analysis done for you, give us a call at 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581. We can help you. We can absolutely help you understand the risk you have, the impact it's going to have on your life savings potentially, but more importantly, if you're already drawing income or you're very close to retirement and drawing income, we can put together an analysis for you that will include Social Security, pension, all the sorts of income you have with your life savings, and give you a really good assessment of the answer to this key question: will my money last? Will my money last? Now, nobody ever runs out of money. They never go to zero. I've never had anybody that goes to zero. But what does happen is that people who've taken significant losses, or things that have happened that they didn't plan on, they've had to adjust their lifestyle. So maybe instead of going to Florida for 3 months, they go to Florida for 3 weeks. Or maybe they can't go at all. Those are the kind of things that can impact our lifestyle. And in retirement is always about maintaining your lifestyle. So it's always about creating an investment strategy that has protection, has some growth, that gives you the income you need to maintain your lifestyle. Good markets, bad markets, up, down, all that stuff. So give us a call if this is something you want to evaluate in your own life. If you want to know the answers to some of those questions that are kind of behind your belly button, give us a call at 616-301-2581 or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name and number in there and we'll reach out to you. Because I think the kind of help we can give you to uncover some of the things that you're not too sure about, we can bring clarity to that. We can give you answers. So give us a call, 616-301-2581.
616-301-2581. You can also go online, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. And I think that understanding of risk is so important, that risk analysis that you and your team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners can run and help people understand. As you stated, the saying in often used in the financial world is we don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. But just to reiterate this simply, I think that most people, Ron, don't understand how much risk they're taking until the market begins to go down. And that's an important point that I don't think we should overlook or just move past, is that everything seems fine and we're enjoying the ride when the market is going up, but there's underlying risk there and a potential issue. And we do need to have that understanding before the tide goes out, so to speak.
Yeah, we really do. And when we deal with our investment portfolio, we need somebody and your advisor to help us understand what might happen. I always ask a great question to people I meet for the first time. And I ask them about their strategy. I say, well, when you were talking to your advisor and you ask him how much risk you have in your portfolio, what did he tell you? And what I hear quite often is that, well, he said, we have, kind of things moved around and we got stuff here and over there and we don't have too much risk. And my question then is, well, what does too much risk, not having too much risk mean? That when the market corrects, you'll go down 5% or 55%? And they weren't given an answer to that. And that's something you should have an answer to. You should know pretty much what's going to happen to your portfolio if the market goes up or down. And statistically, that we can provide that information to you, because nobody likes surprises. And nobody likes the situation where we remember, some of us, what it was like in 2008 or 2002. And I don't want to go there right now. I'm hopeful that we won't ever go back to that thing. But, there's always that possibility, is that we know that down deep inside that when it comes to the markets, what's happening is crazy. And we know that some of the reason for that crazy is probably some of that high-priced talent we elect that's at the Federal Reserve and things like that. But it's something we have to deal with because nobody's going to love us. I tell people, your wife or your husband may love you if you run out of money, but I don't think the banker will. So, why do we do what we do? So it's important to understand that you can have more control over your investments in the market than probably people have told you. You can have a little more control over it. You can actually determine how much risk you really want. You can determine where you want, so to speak, your assets to be. How do you want them? Do you want them in taxable accounts, non-taxable accounts? Do you want to just do more investing in IRAs or tax-deferred stuff? Those are questions that you need real answers to. And those are the kind of answers we can provide. So give us a call. If some of these questions are important to you, ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name and number and their information. We'll reach out to you and we'll help you every which way we can.
Again, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. So Ron, just to rephrase this or to get clarity here, When I open my account statement, my brokerage statement, my 401k statement, it does not tell me in red or in bold at the top of the statement, you are taking such and such amount of risk. If the market goes down by X%, you will lose this much of your money. Whereas there in the office at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, you're able to run those kind of analysis and show people, quantify the level and the amount of risk and the potential for dollars lost so that they can make more informed decisions about it?
Yeah, we can. And it's not absolutely perfect, but it's a whole lot better than only, running on hope or a prayer. I gave you a great example. Through the first 5 months of this year, the market varied. It was down a little over 2018, but let's just assume it's been averaging down about 18 to 20%. If you're in the market in any kind of investment, you probably, if it's just a simple investment, have had a loss of value. But what we've been doing in reviews is showing people that the strategies we created last year, the year before, and even going forward now, we have on purpose put a buffered strategy into it. What does it mean? It means you buffer the downside. You choose investments and strategies that will give you some downside protection. So for example, we just did a review last week with a couple, and their whole portfolio was down. They were in the market. It was down a little over 7%, but the market was down almost 20. And my response to this was, I know that nobody likes to lose money, but the portfolio, the strategy we created worked, meaning that you knew that you wouldn't go down halfway with the market. In your portfolio, the performance has proved it. Now, I can't guarantee that's going to continue, but that's pretty good evidence that the work we did together constructing an investment strategy for you is working. And that if the market in its great glory ever does turn around, and I think eventually it will, then we can have happier days and more positive return. So ladies and gentlemen, if we've talked about something that's got your interest, give us a call. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Contact us, put your name and number there. We'll reach out to you.
Again, Ron Corser, CFP here, your resource, Grand Rapids. Proactive savers and investors have been turning to the guidance and assistance of Cornerstone Retirement Partners for many, many years, both here on the radio for educational purposes, but for specific proactive, individual specific guidance as well in your specific situation. So if you would like that kind of help and assistance, if you would like a better understanding of your money and what it's doing, how it's working to help you achieve your goals, pick up the phone, give them a call, 616-301-2581. That initial conversation and the planning strategy session, always on a complimentary basis for radio show listeners and podcast viewers. So no cost, no obligation, just a chance for you to become more informed about your money. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Quick break. We'll be back with more here on Your Course to Retirement in just a moment. And we're back here on Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Resource for a common sense approach to planning with our money, with our investments for our financial and retirement future. He is certified financial planning professional, Ron Corser, CFP, founder of Cornerstone Retirement Partners. If you've got questions, ladies and gentlemen, pick up the phone, give a call. They are always happy to hear from radio show listeners, happy to help you with your money management, with your financial and retirement planning. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, during the first part of the program, we talked about risk, about the direction of the market, and I wanted to come back and talk a little bit about another aspect of planning. Taxes. After all, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And we need every opportunity to keep as much of our money as possible. In just a moment, let's get to that. But, we talked about risk. How much of a difference is there in risking investments versus risking income? And the market not being the only risk to income, taxes being yet another risk.
Probably the biggest risk is not the risk to our investments, it's a risk to our income. Why do I say that? Because it's our income in retirement that keeps us going, that maintains our lifestyle. You can have $1 million in the market and you think you can safely draw out $50,000 a year, for example, and you're going to be fine. But if the market goes down 20% and you have 800,000, taking out 50 or 60 down the road, it's like taking water out of a well that's drying up. It just makes it worse. So the biggest risk in retirement is a risk to your income plan. And that's why in creating the income plan, it's so important. Yes, you have to make sure that you can get as much permanent, predictable income into that plan as possible. But it also includes an idea of what are we going to do about taxes? How are we going to deal with the tax issue? Because in retirement, other people, not just me, but other Wall Street types and all of those have said the two potentially biggest expenses in retirement is going to be healthcare and taxes, which probably makes some sense because both of them seem to want to go up every year. So it's hard to control the healthcare part, although our firm does a really good job helping people, particularly as they're getting close to retirement, with getting health insurance that makes sense for them. My wife, Nancy, works with us, our team here. She's got a whole team that really is dedicated to creating the healthcare plan for our clients. And she can help people before Medicare age and certainly after Medicare age to get the most out of their healthcare dollars. That's important. And the other part is just a taxation issue. If we have most of our savings, like most people, in an IRA or 401k, some sort of 403b tax deferred account, every dollar that we take out of that is first taxed. And it can be taxed rather heavily. In Michigan, we generally tell people the minimum, if you're going to have a taxable event, you take out 10% for the federal tax, 4.25% for the state of Michigan. And if you're living in a city with tax, so you're looking at perhaps as 15% is the minimum tax that's going to be collected on the dollars you take out. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So it's important that any plan, whether it's an income plan, investment strategy, what have you, over time, consider the impact of taxes. Now, nobody knows where taxes are going to go, but here's a question I always ask folks. You think over the next 5 to 10 years, what you pay in income tax will be about the same 5 or 10 years from now, lower 5 or 10 years from now, or higher 5 or 10 years from now? 80% of the people say, I think it's going to be higher and it's probably going to be ugly. And I would tend to agree with them. So then the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? We can sit here and moan about it and not do anything, or we can try to create a strategy which might make some sense in the future. So where am I leading us down here with this? It goes to one of my favorite talking points on the radio program, a Roth IRA. Now, I've gotten some questions from clients this year because of the market about doing Roth conversions. And they want to know if it makes great sense. And this is not just me talking, but some other folks that have written some articles on this. Is today, with what's going on in the market being down and the volatility, is it a good time to do a Roth conversion? And my response would be the same as if the markets were up. Yes, it is, as long as you do a good analysis of what the tax implication is going to be going forward. Now, there is one thing that works. For example, let's say you own Tesla, and Tesla is down 35% now. Well, you could have converted some of your Tesla stock last year when it reached $1,000 a share, or you can do it now when it's maybe around 700 or wherever it's going to end up this month. So doing a Roth conversion in times when the market's down may be a significant opportunity for you to grow wealth going forward. So for example, if you have a stock that you think is down right now, but it has a good long-term outcome that you believe in, well, if you bought it at $20 and now it's at 14, you can convert that stock to a Roth. You'd probably be able to convert a little more money, but then if it goes back up to 20 or 25, that's all in a tax-free account. So the answer to the question, does it make sense to do a Roth conversion in this market when it's been down? The answer is the same as if the market would have been up. It may be to your advantage, but you have to look into doing a Roth conversion analysis. And what is that? That very simply is we use our own CPA or your CPA, or if you do your own taxes on TurboTax, you can do it. What's the implication of converting some of my IRA money to a Roth? Because remember, that's all income. So if you want to convert $10,000, that's $10,000 of additional income. So what we recommend is that we do kind of what we call a pro forma or pretend tax return. We assume that what happened last year in 2021 is about what's going to happen this year in terms of income, expenses, deductions. So with this additional income, what's that going to do in the amount of money you pay in tax? You need to know that in black and white. You need to see this. It has to happen. And we have the software and also the people that can help you do this. Then to make a really good informed decision is saying, well, I'm not going to bust a bracket because that seems to be important, but I'm going to pay on this X amount of money that I convert, I'm going to pay a little extra in tax. I think that's a good decision. Then you can make that decision. And if you just transfer over stocks that's been kind of crushed down in price and they go back a year or two from now, that's all gravy. So the answer from my point of view is it always makes sense to doing a Roth conversion. It may make even a little more sense now that the market's down, but it's an individual situation and you have to handle it that way. So if this conversation makes sense to you and you'd like to know more about what you can do with Roth conversions, give us a call at 616-301-2581. That's 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name, number in there, we'll reach out to you. We can help you with these things, we really can. So I hope you call 616-301-2581.
We're talking about managing and controlling that tax liability so that you get to keep more of your money. I think this is important for everyone across the board. Now, Ron, in the first segment of the program, we were talking about risk and the fact that you and your team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners can run a risk analysis to quantify that portion of it. Here, we're talking about taxes, and it sounds like you're saying that you can also run scenarios and analysis to show people strategies to keep more of their money. A, is that correct? And then B, do you typically find that saving money in taxes at the end result of it is as effective as shooting for higher returns, taking more risk, but generally with much less risk involved?
Everybody has their own approach to this. I've got clients that absolutely don't want to pay another dime in tax, and I get that. I'm good with that. And their CPAs are really on board with that too, because by the very nature, sometimes CPAs are more interested, rightly so, in reducing tax this year to tax world than doing a tax forward planning. But what I tell folks is, if you plan on living 20 more years, you're going to pay a lot in tax if you have all your money in IRAs. So what are you going to do about it? What's the plan? So it really gets down to who you're listening to, what your beliefs are, and it's all ultimately it's your money. That idea, I always go back to my mom. I miss her dearly. She always thought successful tax planning meant she got a refund. If she got money back, it had been a good tax year. And I think a lot of us still think that way. It's always about going into the tax person. We don't do our own with a basket full of slips and things and say, here, fix it, make it go. And obviously the question is, when we get our tax return, how did I do? Meaning, did I get money back? Sometimes a better approach is to say, let's do some tax forward planning. I do this with our CPA. We meet with him 3 times a year for business purposes, but we also talk about, here's an idea I want to think about. I want to convert some more money into a Roth. What's the tax implication? And he can run a scenario there, show me about how much it's going to cost extra to do the Roth conversion, because nothing's free in life. But it's important information to have to make great decisions. And you can say, you know what, I'm not going to do it this year, but maybe I'll do it next year. Because here's another part that's important in this whole scenario. And we're going to get into the healthcare issue in a few minutes. But when you get to be 65 and you get into Medicare, there's a cost to Medicare. Medicare is not free. The cost can be smoothed over and buried a little bit, but in their simplest form, the Part B part of Medicare, you pay for. You absolutely pay for it. It's about $171 a month. And depending on income, it could be higher. So there's the rub, right? If you're a year away from getting into the Medicare system retirement, to do this analysis of should we convert some of our Roth stuff, should we do something, it impacts more than just direct taxes. It also impacts what we're going to do about healthcare. So that's why it's important to have the analysis done, so that you see exactly how much a conversion is going to cost, what the impact will be, not only directly on income taxes, but on your healthcare program also. So if this is important to you, ladies and gentlemen, we can absolutely help you with this analysis. Give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. We'll reach out to you when you put your name and information in there, and we'll help you. It's a great analysis. We do it along with a Social Security analysis. Once we do that, you'll have the most accurate picture of what's going to happen if you make a certain strategy move or change. You'll know really well what the tax implication and cost will be on it. It's good information, so give us a call if you want to know all about this. 616-301-2581.
Ron, you mentioned healthcare, and that is a particular area where I think a lot of us have blind spots in our plan. I mean, so much so that I'm not even really surprised anymore when I hear that somebody has not taken specific time to address the question of healthcare and healthcare related expenses. I think that is an area that a lot of people maybe subconsciously don't want to address, don't want to think about, but an area where a lot of times even the advisors aren't having those important conversations. And, we're segueing off of taxes here. I think a lot of people may not think about it as much with healthcare, but I think with taxes, a lot of people do ask themselves kind of a rhetorical question alone in their thoughts. Why have I not had the conversation about taxes? Where have I missed that conversation? Why is that not being held when I am looking at my finances? And I'm not saying this is in every case, but the thought has crossed my mind that there is a potential conflict of interest there. And I'm in no way saying that this is in every case, because maybe it's just an area that some brokers and advisors, they don't focus their time and attention on. And that's okay, because not all financial advisors or brokers are the same or are doing the same job. But if you have an account where you are generating an income based on how much is in that account, and then you proactively choose to pay taxes out of that account in advance, that's less money, that's less income generating revenue in that account. And there is a potential for a conflict there. And it's always just sort of bugged me that having that conversation about proactively planning and handling taxes may be something that also is a potential conflict with the person that's giving financial advice and guidance. But I like and appreciate that you are always an advocate for that kind of proactive planning and have been.
We have to be. We operate as fiduciaries in our firm. I'm a certified financial planner. And that means we have to take a look at just about everything. Now, I'm not an expert in every place, but I don't have to be. I tell people, I just have to know people who know things. I don't have to know everything. So we're part of the Ed Slott program. He's probably in our industry the 900-pound gorilla in this whole thing about IRAs and taxation. We do that. I'm smart enough to understand the questions to ask people about their taxes or talk to their CPA about, because it's there. It's the 800-pound elephant in the room, taxes. And our firm just happens to take the position that we are going to talk about taxes. And we will do it in connection with your tax preparer, or we'll just use our own tax preparer. But we don't fly by the seat of our pants. We always require that if we're going to do tax analysis for somebody, that they allow us to produce a written document in black and white that gives you the information you need to make the best possible information or decision for yourself. So we think that's really important. And when it comes to healthcare, that my wife has a full team of people. When the Medicare season comes around, she's up to 4.5 folks doing the Medicare planning, reevaluating current plans, and also having somebody full-time that looks at everybody's drug plan, the Part D part. That's really important. And it's amazing the help she can bring to people with reducing the drug costs. Let me give you a great example. We have a client, and she just did this last year. I know them personally as friends too. He had a change in health, and he had to get a particular drug, a new prescription drug to help him. And the prescription drug on the plan that he was on, it was a lot. It was a lot. So fortunately, when it came to the open enrollment season, they got a chance to reevaluate his plan. My wife's team was able to find him a plan, same prescriptions, that reduced his cost by about 40% or more on this one particular drug. So the advantage of working with our firm, particularly on the healthcare arena, which is an important part of your overall financial strategy, is that things can change, health can change. Costs always change. The drug companies are neither our friends nor enemies. They're just changing prices all the time. So you need to have somebody who will help guide you through this to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck out of your healthcare dollar. And that's what we can do here at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. So if this is important to you, ladies and gentlemen, please give us a call. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name and information in there. We'll reach out to help you. We do a little more here than just say, give us your money and we'll manage it and meet you once a year. We do take a much more proactive approach to helping you, to staying in touch with you, to doing the little things, which ultimately over time, I think can make so much of a difference that it makes everything we do and the effort worthwhile, just from a purpose and a position of serving others.
Well, from a high level, Ron, I think we have touched on today a number of the biggest items that are on people's minds about their money. We talked about income, creating income, how income works. We talked about investments, the risk to investments, and what we need to know in up, down, or sideways markets. We've talked about taxation. We've talked about healthcare. I think that these are among the top high-level items that are on everybody's mind about their money. And there are many subcategories and topics, I think, that we could go into down rabbit holes with each one of those high-level items. But if any of these are missing from the conversation, I think it's an important signal that we may need to have further conversations. We may need to seek out guidance and perspective from an experienced, qualified professional such as you and your team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. I think that it is an important aspect in planning that each and every one of these items is covered and addressed to give us confidence about our money, which at the end of the day, that's what we all want to have.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's everybody has their own approach to how they want to handle their retirement income planning. I kind of separated into groups. One group, they're very confident, maybe because they've done it for so many years, and they're not too concerned about downturns in the market because the market always comes back. And I tell people the market always does come back. It always has.
Ron, I think that there has been a bit of a false sense of confidence, though, as well. I am a member of several different chat rooms and groups that pertain to retirement and retirement readiness and retirement preparedness. And for many years, I saw chatter, saw comments in these different groups that, oh, I feel very confident about the next downturn. I'm not in any way concerned about the next downturn. I have a plan set up that prepares me for the next downturn. And all of a sudden, really this year, I am seeing a lot more concern about the next downturn. And so, yes, people may be confident in the way that they are doing things when it's working, but we need to be prepared for when things aren't working in advance.
We really do. And it always gets down to a simple question. I guess, do you want to work with somebody who can help you through these things, or you just want to hope for the best? And over time, I probably think that, both will work out all right, depending on if you need to take money out of your plan. If you never need to take money out of your life savings, you don't have to be as concerned about market corrections. But if you do need income out of your life savings, a market correction can be a serious, serious problem, particularly in a big one, particularly in a 15 to 20% correction. That can be major. So I tell people in a nice way that investing is not about, okay, I made it through, I'm going to be just fine. Investing is about, no, what I want to do is I want to secure the income I have in retirement so that it's always there. I don't want to go back on lifestyle. I certainly don't want to go back to work. I've seen more and more of that in some of these places where I go on a regular basis that, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go back to work and I'm 68 years old because of what's going on in the market. That to me is a red flag that says, maybe there wasn't the amount of planning, in-depth planning that should have been there. I can't be sure, but it's like a red flag. So I think for folks, it's just a really simple question is how much peace of mind do you want about your retirement plan? If you're good having all your money exposed to the market and high volatility, high risk things, bless you. If on the other hand, you're not good with that and you want a plan that'll help you stay in the world that you're living in and hold on to your lifestyle and not have so much worry, give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. We will and can help you get through these strange times and prepare for some of the good times coming down the road. But it does take preparation, it does take work, and we're willing to do that for you to create an entire financial plan that not only does investment strategy, but importantly, it creates an income plan for you, taking into consideration the healthcare needs that you have. What's the right Medicare plan for you? What's the right drug plan for you? We can help you with those things, and we can help you put you in a situation that, when the markets get rattled and do something, you can be a little more confident in the work that we've done with you to help you. So if this is important to you, ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in and we'll reach out to you. I tell people really clearly, and everybody listening to this program, there are certain things I cannot control. I know that sounds disappointing. I can't control what's going on in the market. I can't control what the Federal Reserve is going to do or not do. I can't control what all the Wall Street folks are going to do or not do. But what we can help you control is how you respond to these things, because they're going to happen. These things that are out of our control are going to happen. And the question is not, are they going to happen? The question is, are we in a position to either get away from some of the bad effects or take advantage of some of the good effects? So one of the things we talked about you might want to take advantage of is considering a Roth conversion this year when the market's down. That's just one example of the way we can at least ask questions to you, of you, that will help you think a little bit and maybe create an opportunity to take advantage of something that perhaps isn't going too well right now. So give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there. We'll reach out to you and help you.
Confidence with your money comes from education and preparation, ladies and gentlemen, in the planning process. And certified financial planning professional Ron Corser, CFP, your resource. Proactive savers, investors, Grand Rapids, and all surrounding areas. If you've got questions or concerns, if you'd like to double check and review the current plan or formulate the plan for retirement, pick up the phone and give Cornerstone Retirement Partners and Ron Corser a call. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, always appreciate your guidance, perspective here on the program. Thank you for sharing the information that is so important for those looking to have more confidence with their money and make sure each and every dollar is working as hard as it can.
Well, I've enjoyed talking with everybody today. I hope you have a blessed Sunday and look forward to talking with you next week. Take care.
Tune into Cornerstone Retirement Partners' full radio program, Your Course to Retirement, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock at News Radio WOOD, or visit cornerstone-rp.com for many valuable resources, including those mentioned on this show and other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor.
Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group is solely an indication that the financial advisor has attended training provided by Ed Slott and Company, passed biannual examinations on material covered at conferences and in webinars, and met other membership requirements, and does not constitute an endorsement of any kind. Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group members pay a fee for the educational programs that allow them to be included in the Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group. Membership does not guarantee investment success. Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services.
Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the products featured